Hey guys, my name is Michael. I am an honor student over here at Southeast Community Technical College here in Westbrook, Kentucky. And I had done a story about my uncle and his friend petting a groundhog for some reason. I don't know why. But I hope you enjoy it. It's called Grumpy Groundhog. I tried to add a little bit of funny in there. Maybe even a whole lot if you think all of it's funny. But I hope you enjoy it, and I will go ahead and read it to you. The long days were excruciating, especially with the sun burning on their backs. But what better way to end it with nice cold drinks and maybe a sneak of ice cream here and there. While walking to Dairy Queen, I don't think I've been this tired since we built that gazebo for Mrs. Peterson last week, Jeff said. What we? If I recall, you were the one who kept needing a break every 5 seconds, while me and James did all the heavy lifting, George said. Says the guy who had to stop every other time to keep hydrating himself, and I don't mean drinking it either. Mr. has to keep showing off his body to every other lady that keeps passing by, Jeff said. That's for sure. Hey Jeff, remember that one that passed by in the yellow flower dress? James asked. Oh yeah, I'm sure she was 3 times my age. But look on the bright side, George. At least she gave you her number, Jeff said sarcastically. Yeah, that's as close to a woman you might get, especially for someone who looks like your great-grandmother, James said sarcastically. You guys are just jealous that women would rather hit on a stud muffin than someone who looks like an oversized bowling ball, George said. Says the guy who looks like he ate a stud muffin himself, James said sarcastically. Hey, look, there's a mighty fine lass over there feeding the ducks. Bet you guys $50 I could hit on her and get her to date me, George said. Oh, please, you couldn't hit the bright side of a barn, Jeff said. Oh, hey now, Jeff, let's not be hasty. $50 is on the line. We could split the money, James said, while walking towards the woman. Last time you tried to split money with me, you ended up buying all our drinks with my share, Jeff said. James said, hey, you're the one who said you would buy the drinks that time, so I just bought a few for myself. Jeff said, remind me not to buy drinks for you anymore, because that day I ended up driving you home. George walks up to the girl. Well, howdy, ma'am, George said. Well, howdy yourself, says the mystery woman. You don't see many fine, young, beautiful women like you. May I ask, what's your name? Mystery woman says, the name's Elizabeth, but most people call me Lizzie, but you can call me whatever you want. George talks in a French accent. Oh, Elizabeth, a name that sparkles brighter than the moon itself, that sings more elegant than a dove, and is more beautiful than an angel. Elizabeth says, my, you are quite the poet, and who knew you had such an exquisite French accent? Suddenly, a groundhog comes out of nowhere, near George and Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, hey look, a groundhog. Don't see them around much. It's so cute. George says, you know, I used to play with groundhogs when I was little. They always seemed pretty friendly towards me. James and Jeff are looking at each other, having the same thoughts. Probably because you kept giving them food and they would keep chasing you until you gave them more. Elizabeth says, oh really? Are you going to try to pet it? George is thinking, it's such a stupid idea, but he doesn't want to embarrass himself in front of a pretty girl. George says, sure. I also used to pet them when I was younger too. Jeff and James are looking at each other, again thinking the same thing. What on earth does he think he's doing? George slowly reaches his hand towards the groundhog's head. George says, here, groundhog. That's a good ground. Holy crap! Then the groundhog hisses and starts to bite, and chases George around the Dairy Queen parking lot. James says, "Who knew fat people could run so fast like that?" They do when something ferocious is chasing them, but this is ridiculous, Jeff says. Elizabeth starts walking over towards James and Jeff. "Hey guys, do you know him?" she asks, confused. James and Jeff say, "Oh, hey, Lizzie," simultaneously. James says, "Unfortunately, yeah." Jeff says, "Don't worry about it, though. So what are you doing on this fine day?" Elizabeth says, "Well, James asked me if I wanted to tag along. Then he gave me $20 to pretend to flirt with that guy over there. I was supposed to refuse to go out with him so you guys could win a bet, but I never anticipated this to happen. I'm surprised he didn't even recognize me, consider I work at the same place y'all do." Jeff says, "I knew you had a cruel sense of humor, James, but I never thought you would go this far." James says, "Well, shall we head on in? Jeff's buying." Jeff says, "In no way, shape, or form. You have the money." And so our story ends with happy faces, going inside Dairy Queen and enjoying a delightful ice cream cone. Meanwhile, back in the parking lot, George yells out, while hanging in a tree, "Y'all will pay for this!" Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope you liked it. And I hope it was a little funny for you. I try to make it a little funny. Just a little bit. So I appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a good day. And bye.